Hey guys and girls, and welcome to another Killing Floor 2 SDK guide by yours truly. I am Sean, also known as Sean Chaos or Sin Chaos, and this time we will be looking at blood splatter, creating proper splatter maps for your custom maps, making sure that the blood is correctly sized and is seamless and not broken and segmented, as is a problem with many custom maps that I've noticed. And I think that's primarily because many mappers are not really aware of the need to actually manually configure the blood splatter on your custom maps. The engine can generate automatic blood splatter with this button up here, but the problem is the automatically generated blood splatters for most meshes will be incorrect. Let me just repeat that. The automatically generated blood splatter on most meshes will be incorrect, right? This is the blood splatter map view when we look at here, up here, blood splatter map density. This one that we have here, this is what you want to see. This, you do not want to see this. This is too big. This, you definitely do not want to see. And this, oh hell no. No. But this might not tell you all that much. So let's just go in-game here and actually see what the blood splat looks like. I'm going to pull down my console here with the F3 button, enable cheats, if I could spell. That was wrong. Enable cheats. There we go. I'm going to give myself some nice demo weapons, and I'm going to spawn a Z. Just a simple clot.
We've got
right?
demons coming to play.
Indeed we do. I'm gonna blow this guy up.
Did.
Get some nice editor lag. This only happens in the editor. I don't know why. So this is what blood splatter, yes, should look like. If you remember when we I'm gonna spawn one more here. When we looked earlier in the blood splatter view density, this floor plate has correctly configured blood splatter. Let's look at it again. That's what it's supposed to look like. And the blood splatter we get in-game is very nice, clean, and seamless. If we go over here, spawn some sets over here. These blood splatters are too large. They're just too big. They don't look bad, but they're a bit too big. We really want to scale them down a bit.
Just like basic training.
At a more reasonable level, which is what we see over here. On this one, the blood splatter was way too small. And you can already see it instantly. Look how tiny they are, and they're just all over the place. That's not what blood is supposed to look like. And this one, oh my, this one.
The old man still has it.
Do I even need to say anything? I don't think this speaks for itself. So, how do we fix this? What is wrong here? Basically what's wrong is that the blood splatter resolution, the splatter map resolution, is incorrect on 3 of these 4 plates. And this is the auto-generated blood splatter, right? If we take a look at this one's too large. It has been auto-generated to a splatter map resolution of 2. That's a bit too low. So what we want to do to fix this is click this button, override splatter map resolution, and then down here, overwritten splatter map resolution, we can enter a number. And this can be any number you want. It doesn't have to be 2 or 4 or 8 or 16 or 20, 32 or whatever. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever number you want. The lower you go, the larger the blood splatter will be. The higher you go, the more not detailed, but the finer, the smaller the blood splatter will be. So for this is a simple 320 unit modular mesh, a single floor unit. The correct blood splatter map that you probably want to be using for this is 4. So we type this in, and remember, every time you've overwritten the blood splatter, you have to rebuild the blood up here. We rebuild, and now look at it. Now we have the same nice pattern as we do on this one. This is what your blood splatter resolution should look like. This one is way too small. So what do? See, this is 16. That's way too high. In order to make these larger, we have to lower this number. So we override, and let's try 8. We rebuild. It's better, but it's still too small. So 8 was actually too much. How about 4? Yes, that's what we want. And this one, as we can see, oops, I just moved it. Just rebuild it. This one is ridiculously large, and that's because I've cheated a little bit. I've actually overwritten this to 1, even though it was auto-generated at 16. I'm going to try and remove my overwritten Splattermap resolution and just rebuild and see what the engine does. And damn, it actually got it right. So this one was built correctly by the automatically generated Splattermap resolution. That's why I'm telling you, you cannot rely on what the engine does. The engine generated incorrect blood splatter for this. It has generated correct blood splatter for this. It generated incorrect blood splatter on this, but it generated correct blood splatter on this. You have to be mindful about this, and you have to test it out yourself to make sure that your blood splatter is properly configured. Now, if I can find my pause button. Now we're gonna have some really messed up blood splatter on that one. What on earth went wrong here? I'm just gonna try and rebuild it. I want to see that again. There we go. I'm not sure what happened. Definitely something happened that wasn't supposed to happen. If that happens, just rebuild. You know, that's usually the solution. Now we get nice looking blood splatters. Except for this. Oh right, that's except for this one. I will mention this. I'm not sure why this happens, but it should be looking okay over here. I'll get back to that in just a second. Yeah, that's better. We've got raining blood on the little Gibson pieces falling down from the sky. Okay, so why is the blood being so weird? That's on this one, on this plate. Now I cannot give you an exact explanation because this 3x3 plate has incorrect blood splatter information, and that's actually an engine thing. I guess a map package thing. It will not display blood correctly, even when you correctly set up the blood splatter. I've noted that before. I've noticed it before. I'm gonna just try and auto-generate, and we're gonna get these tiny little blood splatters as we did earlier.
My aim is true.
See, and they just get generated all over the plate. So I'm sorry that's gonna make me look like an idiot, but I guess I am an idiot. I completely forgot about that. This is the only mesh in the game where I have noticed this happening on. The 3x3 floor mesh is the only mesh in the game that I don't know what it is. It's some sort of hard-coded incorrect blood splatter. So if you are using this plate, a 3x3, you need to be wary and mindful. See, the blood splatter resolution is fine. The size is okay, but it gets painted all over even though it doesn't hit it. So that's a problem with this particular mesh, and it's not the blood splatter overwritten method or anything. It's just a faulty mesh. Okay, that's the basics of these floors. You need to check that it looks correctly in your blood splatter view here, and it should be looking like this. Ignoring this one. Let's delete it. That cheeky bastard. It should be looking like this on pretty much your entire map. Okay, let's move on to, actually let's go on to this section, because now we get into something a bit more advanced here. Here we have a floor that's made up of 9 individual little floor meshes, right? And let's look at the blood splatter. They are incorrect because I haven't configured them. So let's just fix this really quickly. We already know that this particular mesh should have an overwritten blood splatter of 4. We set it to 4. We rebuild our blood splatter, and now it looks really nice, right? Well, not exactly. I'll show you why. Let's go in game. Spawn some of these guys. Move them around a bit. Okay, So what's wrong here? This is wrong. You see this? The blood gets segmented. Each floor plate has its own individual blood splatter information, and blood splatters only on this floor plate, and it does not transition over to the floor plate next to it, creating these ugly sort of gaps in the blood. The resolution is correct, the size is correct, but it's not seamless. We get this just doesn't look very good. So how do we fix this? Now, in order to fix these things, to make sure that we get proper blood splatter on several individual meshes, we have to combine them into one single mesh. So I'm going to very quickly show you how to do this. I do have another video guide showing you more in depth about how you actually combine meshes and why you would want to combine meshes. One of the reasons why you want to combine meshes is to get proper blood splatter, which I'll show you right now. But before I do this, and this is very important, save your map. Before you start combining meshes, save your bloody map. And that's not a pun. Because if there's one thing that for sure, I guarantee you 100%, if there's one thing that's gonna make your editor crash sooner or later, it is when you combine static meshes. So we save, and here's how you combine. You select all the elements you want combined. In this case, I want all these floor plates here. You right click them and you choose this one, combine static meshes. Then you browse to your current map package. That's very important. This one is called Level Design Blood Splatter, and you call it something. We're going to call it floor. I'm going to call it floor. I'm going to call it Bloody Floor. Bloody Floor. And let's see if it crashes. It might not. Now, there we go. Like I said, I guarantee it. It's going to happen. Don't send. No, I said don't send. See, my SDK crashed. Oh no, what are we going to do? Well, let's start again. Luckily, we saved just before we combined. So we can just quickly load our map, and then we can do the combining again. And this time, I guarantee you, 99.9% certain it's not going to crash. Don't ask me why. This is just how it works. It usually crashes the first time, and then it works after that. There we go. Recent maps, level design, blood splatter. We're back right where we left. Not that we left, we were forced to leave. Let's do this again. I mark them, right click, combine static meshes. I find my package, it's called level design blood splatter. I call it Bloody Floor. And this time it's not gonna crash. There we go. Now, I need to drag over my content browser and find this, which I just combined. It's right here. See, it's in my package, which is down here in the external level design blood splatter. That's the map I'm working on. I open this up, and now my bloody floor is right there. We can't see it right now because we need to do a few things in here. We need to mark it, right click, and edit using static mesh editor. Click this checker box up here, and then click this, mark this, create new planar UVs, and then we rotate it. When it's floors, I usually rotate it 270 degrees. That's going to make it face us right nice, a top-down view. Once that's done, I hit, make sure that this is UV channel to save to is set to 1. Click apply, change it to 2, click apply again, and then hit this eye, the left eye. That's going to save a snapshot of this floor. Now we can close this down. We mouse over it in our content pack, and there we have our nice floor. What I just did in here with this UV planners, this number 1 was the light map for lighting and shadows, and number 2 was the splatter map information. Okay, I just built those for this particular mesh. Right, we can move this away now. And when we look at this, this is now one single object. See, it's one single object. And that means when we build splatter maps, let's have a look, we get a single, we still need to, well, actually we might not need to override it. It might be, no, it's a bit too small. See that? It's a bit too small, so we do need to override it. I'm thinking maybe 12? Yes, 12. That was spot on. Wow. Well done. Good going me. Right. Now we have proper splatter map resolution, and when we go back in game and shoot our Zs around on it, we will no longer have these segmented blood splatters that gets cut off. Because... Oops. Because, quite simply, even though this is made up of 9 individual little pieces, it is now treated as one single mesh. It's one single floor plate. And you see this? There is no more cutting off at the edges. We don't get segmented blood splatter. Everything looks nice and clean and seamless. This is what it should look like. That's how you create proper looking blood splatter when you have floors, walls, and ceilings that are made up of multiple smaller meshes. You have to combine them, guys. I'm sorry, but you do. You need to make this a habit. It's common practice in level design. You have to do this if you want your map to have proper lighting and proper blood splatter. You need to do this. Now let's go over here. The same thing applies for walls. Exactly the same thing. We have these single segmented walls. Let's take a look at the blood splatter. Our floor is fine, but our walls are not. These are too large. Plus, they're going to be segmented if we get SEDs in here. Let's just properly configure these. We're going to override to 4 because we know with these single pieces, an overwritten blood splatter map of 4 will give us proper blood. But we're still going to have this segmented area where they separate. See that? We can just barely see it here. See this? This should be continuing onto this, but it's not because it's getting cut off, because these are individual objects. That's a nice piece of sausage. So what we can do is exactly the same with the floor. We can mark these, all of them. We can combine static meshes. Level design blood splatter, bloody, let's call it bloody wall. Bloody wall. Combine convex, you just say yes to everything. And we crashed again. Lovely. We get to see this guy again. So it's not too bad. It's not the end of the world. We do get to see this guy. Ah, yes. And I actually just broke my own rule that I was just very adamant about telling you. Save your map before you combine meshes. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. Luckily, I don't really care about this map, but if this had been an actual project of yours, you would probably not be a happy camper right now. So this is an excellent reminder. Save your map. Every time you want to combine meshes, save your map, please. Let's get back into it. Obviously, we're going to lose the floor we just combined because I didn't save, but it doesn't matter. Oops. Did I just load Black Forest? Why did I load Black Forest? I did. Well, we don't need to do blood splatter on Black Forest because it already has proper blood splatter. I should very certainly hope so anyway. Let's try this one more time. We're going to combine these walls. It's already the correct name. Bloody wall, it should not be crashing now. It did not. Excellent. Gonna bring in my content package thingy. Gonna find this. There it is. It's already in my package down in external. We need to do the same thing again. Edit, click the checkered board, click create new planar UVs, click make sure it's set to 1. Make sure we have a head-on view. We don't need to type in anything in here because we're already facing the mesh head-on. That's what you want to do when you create these planar UVs. You want to look at the mesh from a proper angle. So we just hit apply. Change this to 2, hit apply, save this. We don't even need to save the snapshot. I'm just going to do it because it's good practice. Get back in. Now this is a single mesh, no longer. It's still comprised of these 4 pieces, but it acts as a single mesh. We build the blood splatter. We take a look at it. It's probably wrong. Yep, because we still need to override it. So it's set to 8, auto-generated to 8, and that's too large. That means we need to increase the number. I'm going to say 16 is going to be spot on, just because I've been doing this quite a few times. So there we go. Now we have nice looking blood splatter on our walls. It's going to not be segmented anymore. I can, if you don't trust me, I'm pretty sure you do, but let's just do it anyway. Also because shooting sets is fun, right?
Bloody hell!
Pew.
You're
See that?
going down.
There we go. This blood is now completely seamless. There's no cutting off, no segmented blood. That's nice. That's what it's supposed to look like. Okay. Now, so you saw this. For a wall like this, we actually had to combine it. What if you don't want to combine your walls? Because you're probably going to have a lot of walls in your map. Can you get away with getting proper blood splatter on your map without combining stuff? Well, yes and no. For floors like these, it's going to be really hard to get proper blood splatter without combining them. But on walls, we can trick it a little bit. So these are single walls, and instead of combining them, we just hide. See these? This is where they're connected. Normally, we already established, if we kill a set here, this blood in this area is going to look bad. But if we put a pillar in here, we can actually get away with this without having to generate the blood splatter. I mean, combining meshes. We still have to generate blood splatter, and we still need to check that our resolution is correct, because it's not. Now, we already know what to do. These walls need an overridden blood splatter of 4. These pillars, what are they? Auto-generated. They're clearly, as you can see, they're way too large. So they need a higher. They're set to 1. That's definitely way too low. Now, I already know that these pillars need an overridden splatter map size of 4. If we do this, look at that. This is going to look perfectly fine in game. Let's try it out. Hitting my macros here. These guys. Maybe we should get a few. Here we go. Get some blood. Alright. So, you might say, well, this looks bad. And yeah, it kind of does. But it's not really that noticeable. It's not too bad. This is acceptable. You can get away with this. It certainly did not look as bad as what we initially had over here. So this is an acceptable solution if you have a lot of these walls and you feel like you don't want to combine all of this. Because keep in mind, not only does combining take extra time, it also increases the file size of your map quite dramatically because it saves a completely new mesh inside your map package. So if you're already strapped on file size and you don't want to make it any bigger, you can get away with blood splatter, by basically hiding blood splatter behind pillars and trims and whatnot. Okay, let's go over here. Same principle, but this time we just have these walls with multiple textures made out of these half walls. The exact same thing applies. If we shoot sets here, there's going to be segmentation. So again, we can combine all of these, or we can hide them as we did back there. This time I've put in some trims, some molding, some pillars, and let's just check that the blood splatter is correct. The walls are fine, but these guys, we need to override the blood splatter on these, because again, as you can see, the blood splatter is way too large. They're not supposed to be white. All of these we'll probably do with an overridden blood splatter of 4. Let's build. Take a look. That looks fine. That's acceptable. That is acceptable. Right? Oh, we have these as well on the floor here. Again, the floor is also comprised of multiple smaller pieces. These, let's try setting these at 4. Take a look. You see that? That's nice. Looks good. And these are floor plates, a 2x2 floor plate, and we already established back here at the beginning, the 2x2 floor plate actually defaults at a proper blood splatter resolution, so we don't even have to do anything here. So with this floor, we don't really have to we don't have to combine these, because again, we have hidden the seams between the floor plates. If we shoot sets now, there's going to be a segmented blood splatter on these. But because we have hidden them underneath these, we can get away with it, just like with this wall. We don't have to combine this floor if we don't want to, at least not for purposes of blood splatter. It'd still be a good idea to combine it, guys. You should be combining a floor like this, not just because of blood splatter, also because of light maps and whatnot. But I'm just telling you that these are little tricks that you can use to hide the seams of segmenting blood splatter if you don't want to combine. The same thing goes for ceilings. ideally, we want to either combine these two pieces or put in some sort of mesh here that can cover up this seam right here. So that's the basic principle. That is the basic principle. As a final lesson, I want to take everything that we've just gone through here, everything we've learned here, and actually configure an actual room. This is the kind of room that you would have in a real map, in a real proper map. Let's build the splatter maps. These are default, and take a look at it. This does not look good. Oh, the ceiling is a bit too small, maybe? I think the ceiling's okay. This floor piece is okay because this is a 2x2. And those generate a default good splatter map. I think the ceiling is actually okay as well. It's rough. No, it's too small, isn't it? Yeah, the ceiling is actually too small. Let's just very quickly go in here, spawn a few Zeds, and shoot them about the place a bit. Ugh, that's not good looking.
Look at that. We're a bit woozy, mate.
Where did he go? Did he just hide in the bush? Right. This is probably what you have seen in many custom maps. This is certainly what I have seen in many custom maps. Let's just take a look at this, shall we? The blood on this floor is the only thing that looks as it's supposed to. The blood on this carpet is too large. It gets segmented. The blood on the ceiling is too small. The blood on this fan gets segmented. There's a gap. The blood on these walls is way too large. The blood on these walls completely segmented. This looks retarded. The blood on this pillar, too large, too big. The blood on that one, too stretched out. Just the whole thing does not look good. But sadly, this is what many custom maps looks like. And chances are, if you're looking at this, look at that. Oh god, that does not look good. That you might be guilty of this on some of your custom maps. Now, I'm not going to blame you, because when I started mapping, I didn't know about this either. And my first maps look like this as well. This is how I was mapping at first. I didn't know any better. And that's fair. That's why I'm making these guides, so that I can teach more people how to properly do these things, so we can get better looking custom maps, and that you as a mapper can be more proud of what you're doing. So let's fix this, okay? Also, look at this. There's paper on the floor, but the blood is underneath all of the paper. There's no blood on the paper. That's not supposed to look that way. How do we fix this? Well, first of all, I'm going to save my map, because the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to combine this floor with everything on it. Yep, you heard me. Welcome to level design in Killing Floor 2. You're going to strap yourself in for this, because you're going to have to do this. If you want to go anywhere with some serious level design... Oops, I just moved this. I didn't want to do that. You may as well just get settled into making this common practice in your levels. You have to do this. So I select everything, right click. I've just saved. You saw me save. Combine static meshes. I'm going to do bloody office. Floor, whatever. Floor with a single O. That's okay. And we get to see my red-headed buddy again, because wow, it's actually being really, really bad right now, guys. Normally it doesn't crash this much, but welcome to the bug splat simulator, as we call it. We get back in here. We do the whole thing again, and this time it's not going to crash. I'm going to flip if it crashes again. It's also loading a bit slower than it usually does. It's just a bad SDK day for me today. I can tell that much. Alright, we're back. One more time. This is going to increase my snap so I don't accidentally move things again like I did last time. Now, you don't have to select all of these things. You can leave a few of them out. Normally, you could essentially leave these out and just have these as individual combined pieces. But for the purpose of this tutorial, and because this is such a small area, such a small room, I'm just going to combine the whole damn thing. We have it all selected. Combine static meshes. Bloody office. This time it's not the office floor. This time it's just the office. Right. We pull in our content pack browser. We find our mesh in the content pack. There it is. Right click it. See, there's our wall from before. Click the checkered box, create new planar UVs. Rotate this. Since it's a floor, I'm going to rotate it 270 degrees. Click apply. Change to 2. Click apply. Take a snapshot. Make sure it's here. It's right there. Good. Drag this out. Rebuild the splatter maps. I'm just going to take a look at it. There we go. Look, even the auto-generated, actually, it hit right on the mark. 16, and this looks perfectly fine. Now this floor and all the blood on this floor is going to look proper. Let's get in here and take a really quick look. I'm sure you're getting tired of listening to me by now. I'm trying not to repeat myself too much. That's a bad habit I have. Oh, come on, blow up. Oh, really? I think that leaf just stopped my rocket. Oh, that does not look good. Poor guy. But we can already see the effect of our combined floor. Look at it. Look, we can even paint. We can make trails of blood. Now see, everything looks as it's supposed to. The blood is, it's the correct resolution. It's the correct size. It somebody's writing to me. Bloody. Oh, he's drunk. He's just gotten home drunk. I'm not going to speak to him. Let me just hit that one. Right. And everything, see, it crawls over the paper and over the books, and everything looks as it's supposed to. But the rest of the room is still very much not good looking, as we can see. Ugh. So these walls, these half walls, let's just select all of them at the same time. These should have an overwritten blood splatter resolution of 4. We rebuild, and now we look. And that's... Actually, you know what? I think the floor might be a bit too small, because these walls, if we look over here. Yeah, I was wrong. The auto-generated floor was actually a little off. We need it to be slightly larger. I'm going to aim for a 12 again. That's usually a good estimate. Yes. See that? That's what we want. Now it's proper. And now it also lines up perfectly with these newly overwritten walls, these half walls. But there's still a lot of stuff in here that needs tweaking. So these things, what are they set to? They're set to 1. They should be overwritten to 4. Let's do that. Take a look at them again. Go away. Yes, that's acceptable. That's okay. It's the best we're going to get. You could get away with basically things like these props that are against the walls and furniture. It's okay to have slightly oversized blood splatter on those. That's okay. We could probably get away with 3 on these radiators. And it's still... Yeah, I think 3 might actually be even better. Look at these little sockets here. The thing about these, right, they're very large, but the mesh is so small that we don't have to override the blood on this. This is perfectly fine, just getting completely splattered. But this thing I just noticed, look at that, that's tiny. That's not good. It's overwritten to 4, maybe 2, maybe even just the default 1 would be fine. Yeah, I think I don't even want to override it. I'll just leave it at 1, which is what the engine auto-generates. That's okay. That's fine. These things don't have blood splatter, so there's nothing we can do about it. They're just not configured. You see that? They're completely dark, and even when we rebuild, nothing happens. That just means they haven't been configured. They haven't gotten the blood splats built. So we could do that, but in order to do that, we'd have to copy them to our own map, make a copy, import it into our map, and then build the blood splatter. And, well, I can't be bothered doing that. It's not a big deal. I'm just going to leave them. These cabinets, way too big. Let's check them out. 4 is probably correct. These small ones, let's try 4 on these as well. See how that looks. That looks fine. That's okay. This computer needs... It's set to 2 on the overridden. Is that okay? That's okay. That's fine. That's acceptable. This monitor is actually okay. This monitor is not. So this monitor was fine. It was overwritten to 2. This one's overwritten to nothing. Let's override that to 2 as well. Take a look. Yeah, that's okay. Acceptable. The chair needs to be overridden. As you can see, this is slightly tedious work, but that's just what level design is, guys. This is part of it. This pillar needs overriding to 4, probably. It could actually do with maybe a bit higher. Oops, that was wrong. 6 is more appropriate. Yes, that looks fine. I'm okay with this. Actually, I think the ceiling needs to be 12 as well. It does. Look, nicely lined up. These trims need overriding. Probably 4, maybe 3. No, 4. Look at that. Nice. These trims down here, probably the same. Let's try 4. Take a look. Yeah, that's acceptable. That's okay. The couch as well. That was previously overridden to 12. Let's see if that's correct. I'd say that's too much. I want my blood splatters to be a bit larger on it. So I'll lower it to 8. Yeah, I like that. 8 is fine. This pot needs overriding to 4. This painting needs overriding to 2, maybe. Let's have a look. Ah, no, it needs a bit more. 3. Let's try 3. That's better. Much better. These vents. Now, ideally, I actually would combine this ceiling. I'd select these. All of these. Not this one, because this is a destructible actor that is actually emitting light. So I would not be including that one, but all of these static elements. These, I would right-click, combine static mesh. I'm not going to do it, because you already know how to do it. But that's what I would do with this ceiling. What else do we have? This one is clearly too small. I'm going to reduce it to 3, maybe even 2. I'm thinking 2, maybe even 1. No, 2 looks good. The desks need Splattermaps overridden. Try 4. Oh, this computer needs as well. This thing needs overriding. Maybe 4. I think. Yeah, it's acceptable. The books don't need. Not in my opinion. You don't need to override these books. Having them, because they are so small, it's okay that they get completely painted in blood. That's fine. If you do, we could try. Let's try lowering them to 2 and see how that looks. That might actually be slightly better. That's okay. This cabinet needs overriding. So you can see, guys, there's a lot of this, and you should be doing this. I know it's tedious work. It's kind of boring, but there you have it. These things need overriding. I'm going to try 4. Let's have a look. 4. This seems off to me, doesn't it? This seems off. Actually, I think these straight ones, the straight ones, they're fine. See? They actually line up perfectly with the rest of the wall. But these corner ones, because they are bigger, they're a larger mesh, so they need a higher resolution. Let's try 8 on those. Yes. See that? Now they align really nicely as well. This one needs overriding. Let's try 4. 4 is spot on. Oh, the garbage bin needs overriding. Da-da-da-da-da. Welcome to Splattermap configuring. This is how you do it. And this table as well. It's set to 8 by default from the... It's because... The reason why it's already pre-configured is because I've copied some of these from the official maps. I'd say 8 is too much. I'm going to say 4. Yeah, I like 4 better. Okay, I think that covers everything. We might have missed a few pieces here and there. Again, like with the books, these little bits here, we don't need to override the splatter maps on those. They're fine the way they are. We've built our splatter maps. Now we can go back into the level. We can get our demo out. Pull out some sets and some guns. Shoot stuff up. And now we should have much more acceptable blood splatter. See these? We don't notice the segmentation because they're hidden behind these trims, and they are no longer oversized. They're not huge blood splatters. The ceiling looks perfectly fine. It's seamless. It has a nice size. The pillar is very acceptable. The floor is fine. Let's do a few more here. And some Z time. Nice. Let's do some guys over here. Yes, see? Okay, so you could say, well, it doesn't crawl over this trim, and that's true. If you want to be, if you want to be really perfectionist about it, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, you would be going out and combining these walls along with these trims. You'd select all these and make it into a combined mesh. This is the ideal. I would advise you do this, but I'm just saying you don't have to. It is acceptable to hide the segmentations behind other meshes as long as you configure all of your blood splatters to look like this. This is what the room should look like. It's important, guys. Blood splatter and gore is a big part of Killing Floor 2, so make sure that your map looks the part, even in this aspect as well. It's a proper shame having maps with completely oversized blood, or blood that's way too small, or blood that crawls underneath other meshes, and I see way too much of it, and I hope this video will help you guys out with your maps and the community as a whole by upping the quality of the custom maps out there, because there really are a lot of them, and a lot of them are really good, but novice mistakes like unconfigured blood splatters is a proper shame, because there's a lot of talented people out there, and please guys, please, we need good blood. So that's it for this guide. I hope it's been informative to you. I hope you've learned something, or maybe refreshed something that you'd forgotten, and I don't really have anything else to say about it. That's it. That's all I have. So like, comment, subscribe, or just do whatever, as long as you adopt these lessons and make nice custom maps for our lovely, lovely Killing Floor 2. That's it for me. I'll see you around. Take care, goodbye, and, take care and goodbye.